I believe many of you would agree with me that tier 3 on Heroic 7, in fact, on any of the heroics, but this particular fight is in Heroic 7. Tier 3 is actually more difficult than all the other tiers except tier 5. I think tier 3 actually is more difficult than tier 4 because tier 4 is kind of straightforward in the teams you need to use, you don't need to think too much. But tier 3 has two bosses that have shield. Tier 3 has stun on tagging, then they have one regular boss that you can use anybody to fight. Then of course they have the final boss that has hazards on the ground. So tier 3 is pretty stacked. That is why I've chosen, of all the tiers, I'm going to review tier 3 specifically because it kind of challenged me when I was about to fight it. But yeah, I came through successfully. The first fight is this one with this Flash character. If you tag in, you are going to get stunned. So we have faced similar characters in the past. You can use your League of Anarchy, except well, the boss cannot be stunned, and League of Anarchy relies on that stun for 300% damage, which is quite huge. So in my own case, I chose to use Beastboy. And for every of these bosses, just let me know the teams you guys used as well. But I chose to use Beastboy in that particular fight so that I don't need to tag in any character, and I don't even need to take that chance of getting stunned on tagging. That's for that. The next fight, this boss has a shield, and also they have increased resistance to lethal and crit. Yeah, no, I don't think she has a resistance to lethal. I think, yeah, it's crit resistance. Yeah, crit resist, not lethal resist, I believe. So that means that you need characters that have lethal 100% crit or have resistance or immunity, all of that. The one team I can rely on for that is the metal team. In this match, I chose to use the metal team for those two reasons. Number one, this boss has a shield, and you don't want to do special when you have not locked the boss's special. So you don't have to do your own special because you're just going to reflect the damage, and very quickly you are going to be in trouble. Metal team allows you to fight the boss, especially if you are using the God Killer artifact on your Batwoman the Drowned. You can just do basic attack damage, then tag in Robin King once the flooding is up, and you are good to go. Of course, you are going to be able to do 100% crit. Doesn't matter the crit resistance, that's specifically with the dot damage. The dot damage is going to be 100% crit because of Robin King. So I would say the recommended team for this fight is the metal team. The only thing I will add before we move on, you will notice I use John Stewart's Grey Lantern. I will say do not use John Stewart's Grey Lantern as the third character. Use Arkham Knight Batman. Yeah. You will find out why very soon. Why I say you should use Arkham Knight Batman, but yeah, John Stewart's Grey Lantern is going to be needed in a different fight. This fight, use Arkham Knight Batman or any other third support that you would normally use. Maybe even Classic Wonder Woman. Probably, yeah, Classic Wonder Woman actually would be a good third character for that fight. Anyways, now this is a regular boss. It doesn't really have much going for him. You can use most teams in this fight. I think you can even stun this boss. Can you stun this boss? I don't even remember, but if you can stun this boss, you can use the League of Anarchy here. If you cannot stun the boss, you can use literally any other team that you have that just does damage. Any character, if you have Beta Club or Gemstone, you can use your Beta Club Gemstone characters here. If you have Twin Blade, you can use the teams that use Twin Blade, like King of Atlantis Aquaman uses Twin Blade. You can use that setup in this fight. I think it's King plus Zatanna plus maybe Classic Wonder Woman. Yeah, something like that. You should be able to beat this boss. Have your 2 maxed out solo raid artifacts, and you are set to destroy the boss. Fun fact, by the way, while we're talking about solo raid artifacts, do you guys know that Dawn of Apokolips solo raid in the past, because it's the very first one, in the past, attack and health from the solo raid artifact was not shared? I'm sure there are many of you that started playing this game this year and you probably didn't know that. But yeah, the very first solo raid, which is the Dawn of Apokolips solo raid, when it newly started, and for very long after, because by the time the second solo raid came about, which was Rise of Krypton, the one that has Collector of Worlds Superman as the final boss, by the time that one came around, you could share the attack and the health, the passive attack and passive health on the artifact. In a Dawn of Apocalypse, you couldn't, and that's why you would notice that many of the bosses, especially even on Heroic 7, have reduced health. They have like 1.3 million health, 1.4 million health. Yeah, so that was because you could not actually share, and it was a real burden to defeat the bosses, to one-shot bosses. Then later the Beta Club came, and with Beta Club you could one-shot. Of course, Beta Club came from the rise of Krypton solo raid. And yeah, and over time we did get OP characters that can one-shot without solo raid artifacts. I think I have one of those gameplays. If I remember, I attach it to this video. But yeah, there are teams that can one-shot without solo raid artifact, including the Metal team. Yeah. Anyways, what we are trying to say is that this particular fight, I chose to use because the boss did not need anything special. I didn't to think too much. I didn't need to use a lot. In fact, I basically fought this match with one brain cell. So anyways, but I wouldn't recommend is good because this boss only has 1.3 billion health, and you see that the match went close to the end. I wouldn't recommend I would even go as far as say, even if you have 2 maxed out solo raid artifacts, there are some of these bosses that have hidden crit resist. So you are going to be doing your special 3, and you are going to notice that you are going to be doing very low amount of damage. I got burned on one of the fights because my character was just not doing crit. I've forgotten, now I can't remember, I didn't record that gameplay, but I've totally forgotten. I know some of these bosses have like high crit resistance. So yeah, I'll say it's not really recommended unless the boss health is like 1.3 billion. Then go ahead with one solo raid artifact, you will one shot. Then this is another boss that has a shield, and yeah, to prevent the boss from using the shield, I chose to use Raven combo. And for this match, you will notice I'm using Classic Flash as the third character. I did that because my assumption was that because of Classic Flash and because I'll be doing guaranteed fast attack, 100% fast attack on Classic Flash, I will be able to steal the boss's power more frequently. Honestly, guys, I can't even tell you for sure if that worked. But I guess to me, I don't think it actually, it doesn't feel like it worked. It feels like I'm stealing the boss's power as much as I would normally. So yeah, nothing special for me. The only thing I would have benefited from that I did not is that I should have done the super move of Classic Flash to get that extra 600% damage. I did not do that. So I didn't even, Classic Flash in this match was just a spectator. I didn't need him eventually. In fact, I would have been better off having Classic Wonder Woman as the third character in this fight. But I guess it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Now, excuse me, for the final fight, the Battle of the Green Lanterns, Just Stewart, Green Lantern. This is the time that you need to use John Stewart's Green Lantern. Remember, in the fight against Wonder Woman, I said use Arkham Knight Batman as the third character for the Metal team. And the reason is for this fight. Against this boss, you are going to have hazards on the ground. The very first hazard you can see here is going to power drain your character. The last one is going to do dot damage. Guys, I'm just going to tell you right now, if you don't have John Stewart's Green Lantern in this fight, and you don't have the Mega Rod, pause, you are going to run into issues because you won't even have enough power to activate your Zatanna's puppet. Because it is true that once you activate your Zatanna's puppet, power drain doesn't matter. You're going to be resisting power drain because all your specials are going to be 0 cost. But before you get to that point, you are going to be extremely frustrated. This would mean you need to either have a character that has the Mega Rod, maybe have like the Mega Rod on your starting character. Then by the time you tag in Scorpion, then Scorpion will have enough power. Even if he's losing power, it doesn't matter at that point. But I think the most convenient gameplay is just to use John Stewart Green Lantern and use a power reduction character. In this case, I'm using Dr. Fate. You can use Power Girl, depending on what you feel like using. So, yeah, this is definitely the team I'm going to recommend to you guys. And one thing I also observed, outside of the fact that, yeah, Scorpion actually deals very well with this fight. one thing I observed is that the dot damage is naturally not that powerful. So I was worried for nothing. And it's not that it's not that powerful. It goes back to the history. In the past, we were not sharing health from the solo raid specific artifact. So in the past, this dot would have been doing a lot more damage. But because right now my character has a lot of health coming from a maxed out father box, then you can see that the dot damage doesn't seem to do much against my character. So yes, that's about it for tier 3. What do you guys think of tier 3? What are the characters you use to defeat the bosses? Let me know in the comment section and I'll see you guys on the next one.